What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the WebBuzz Podcast. I can't tell you how many times earlier today I was practicing getting stuff set up, whatever the case, and I kept saying "we buzz," and I'm not buzzed. We're not buzzed. I don't know why. I just kept saying "we buzz," and I kept reminding myself, Shawn, moron, come on, man. You and Roger decided it's WebBuzz. All the buzz about the web. So welcome to those that are on live. If you're not on live and you're listening to this later, welcome to you as well. My name's Shawn Tiberio, the host, alongside my man, my friend, my business partner. Sometimes I think the person that I speak to more than anybody in the world, Roger Valdez. Many of you guys know him and see him. Roger, what's going on? I know you're just getting your day started over there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's funny that you mentioned the name of the podcast. I know we were brainstorming a couple options, and WebBuzz. I was on the same boat like you. I was going making sure that I had the right words for this, but I think we nailed the topic in regards to the title. Now it's just getting used to it, but. No, I want to say hello to everybody that's joining us, and looking forward to this. But as Shawn mentioned, I'm over in the middle of the Pacific on the island of Guam, just literally getting my day started. So super excited, man.
Absolutely. And for all those that are tuning in live, I'm monitoring both inside of this platform that we're in broadcasting out of for your chats, as well as I've got it over here on my iPad. I can see us up on here, monitoring it there. So if you've got comments, questions as we get into some stuff, whatever the case, throw them down in the chat. If you're listening to this later on a replay, all the more reason to tune in live so you can engage, interact with us. So to kick us off and get us started, before we get into even really talking about what is WebBuzz, what's the purpose of WebBuzz, why is Shawn and Roger top results, why are we suddenly bringing out this podcast, WebBuzz? Before we get into all that stuff, for some that may not know you and I very well just yet, Roger, why don't you kick us off and just kind of introduce yourself? Obviously, he just said, folks, he's all the way across the Pacific Ocean on a tiny little dot of an island known as Guam, but there's a whole lot more to this individual that will blow your mind. So, Roger, go ahead and just introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for the segue there. It's like that little dot. A lot of people is like, where's Guam, right? That's one of the questions I get quite a bit. Just kind of wondering where I'm located, why we're out here, and just stuff around that. So I'll start with that background. I'm actually married to a lieutenant in the Navy, right? So this is our current duty station. So my wife is active duty. And this is where we're at. We're actually here for another 8 months, and then we're going to be heading back to the States, down to the Maryland area. So super excited to be heading back to the States, but we've absolutely enjoyed ourselves out here in Guam. We've been out here for 3 years. Overall, just kind of getting into a little bit of my professional background, I guess, on how it relates more to WebBuzz, top results consulting, and overall how Shawn and I have gotten together and started working together. I have a background in web development and SEO. So a lot of the stuff that I bring to the table, a lot of the knowledge goes around kind of, the type of website structure, architecture. I really geek out on those type of things. And then the whole Google algorithm, that's basically one of the main questions you should be asking as soon as you have a website built, or if you're going through that process, is always, all right, what's this website going to do for me, my business, and basically for conversions, right? So it's always kind of looking at that, and that has a lot to do with what's happening out there on the web with the different search engines, and obviously the main one being Google. So that's kind of a little snapshot of just a personal side of me, and a little bit of the professional side. And one thing I'll throw in, I'm sure you guys will see some pictures later on, but one of the big hobbies that I have out here in Guam that I'm loving, I'm a big scuba diver. So I love kind of going out, share a lot of that stuff on my personal Facebook page. But hopefully this kind of gives you a little segue into who Roger Valdez is, and hopefully what I can definitely add some value to this podcast.
Awesome. Absolutely. And I was actually thinking about this earlier. Folks, I'll tell you this first. Very unique business dynamic here. Roger's just getting his day going, and it is 4:00 p.m. Pacific time. If you're over on the East Coast, that's 7:00. So I would technically, or I am kind of technically wrapping down my day right as Roger's getting started. So I've had all day to think and prep and plan and all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking earlier how cool it is that we've got the guy that buries himself into the code on the front end. Got him live on a podcast, committed to showing up every week going forward to do this series to help you guys out. I don't know if it sinks in now, if it takes a little bit of time or what, but to have that type of resource, uh, you know, you don't really see the guy that loves the code and geek out on all the algorithms and all the details and all the stuff that I know you're going to love to geek out and talk about in future episodes out front talking about it on a Facebook Live, hitting YouTube, hitting podcasts, that kind of stuff. So just a random thought that hit me that was pretty cool to think about. So a little bit about myself before we dive into some of the other stuff. Many of you guys probably know me or have heard me out there. My name's Shawn Tiberio. I like to wrap it up. I'm a serial entrepreneur at heart. That's kind of where it's always been. I've started businesses, failed at business, started businesses and done really well, sold businesses, been all over the place, kind of done it. A lot of it in the real estate space, a lot of knowledge when it comes to marketing and growing a real estate type business, even into some product side to it. And I love consulting. I love helping. I love building business with others. And that's kind of what led Roger and I to come crashing together. Roger's always been my man to go to when it came to the online side, bringing a lot of the clients over. And after a while, it was like, let's just put the two together, become this like really crazy double-headed spear in a sense for everybody out there. And that's us, whatever, the birth of Top Results. I'm also a author. You guys probably know the book, Fortifying Your Mind. Something that's my pride and joy. Never thought I'd ever write a book and get it published. Couldn't even pass high school, let alone think about authoring a book, but I managed to pull that off. So just a little fun fact there on me. And just like Roger's got his adrenaline side, I've got mine. My girlfriend and I, we absolutely love hanging by a shoestring of a rope, very tiny rope in the middle of waterfalls and exploring some of the most remote canyons of the planet and of different areas. It's one of our favorite things to do. Not go on vacation for the normal vacation, go on vacation to torture the heck out of ourselves, but see some of the most beautiful things out there. So with that, let's talk a little bit about what is WebBuzz. What is it going to be about? Why you guys should be tuning in. Again, tune in live. We'd love it. We'd love to hear you interact. Throw some comments, questions in the chat box. We'll try to get to those. We'll look at them. I'm monitoring in a couple different spots. But Roger, why don't you sum it up first by saying, like, what is it about WebBuzz? When we started to hash this idea around, and it really took off out of nowhere. It was like last week I said something to you. Hey, I think we should do this. You gave the green light, kind of the typical thing. You give the green light, and my mind went running a million miles a minute. And here we are, less than a week later, we're making it happen. So what is it about WebBuzz Podcast that you're excited about? Why? Tell them in your words. Why should they be around?
Absolutely. So one of the main things, taking a step back, right? How did this actually come to fruition and just go? One of the takeaways I think that should be out of this first podcast that we're actually launching is taking action. And it never has to be perfect, right? So Shawn and I came up, this idea got thrown around last week, and we had been thinking about it for a while, but then we really kind of talked about it, and I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off and let's get it going. And here we are today, right? So that's the first step. That should be a big takeaway for a lot of entrepreneurs out there. I was the same way. I wanted everything to be perfect, right? So we want to basically promote and really kind of impress upon you that it doesn't have to always be perfect, right? Whatever the idea, you have to put those ideas out there and really try them out to even see if they're going to be of value to the business. But overall, WebBuzz, what the whole premise and idea around it is basically to provide those gaps, those gaps that sometimes don't get answered, right? What I mean by gaps is the questions around whatever it might be. I know we do a lot of stuff around digital marketing, but it could be about entrepreneurship, business. Obviously, Shawn is an expert around business. You have an expert on SEO and web development. What does that all mean? And then us ourselves, we find out a lot just by researching. So what we wanted to do, since we don't get to spend a whole lot of time all the time with our clients directly, and there's a lot of information always flowing out there, this podcast was designed, and it is designed to basically feed that. Every time we come up with things, just keep you guys updated. And if there's some kind of update in the algorithm with Google or Bing or any type of strategy, boom, you're going to hear it from us, right? We're going to kind of try to bring it to the table here. If there's any workaround, any type of hack or anything that we would recommend that we're actually doing, and that's another thing to keep in mind. We're not only promoting things that we're finding, we're also going to be sharing some of our secret strategies that we're using inside of Top Results and our agency that we see working, and just sharing. So it's one of those bringing the community together and really spreading the love, really spreading the knowledge, so we can all basically help each other level up in our businesses and move forward and really dominate in our markets.
Which kind of goes along. It's something that you and I have really started to preach a lot, emphasize a lot, kind of work pretty closely on with our clients right now, in this mindset of growth-driven design, right? I know we're getting into some design conversation. We can go weeds of that maybe in a future episode. But at the premise of growth-driven design, I think you nailed it right at the beginning. It's never going to be perfect, right? Even this episode right here, it's not perfect. I hit 2 buttons incorrectly on my launch of this thing, and while we were doing that, I hit 2 other buttons, and it messed something up. But it's okay. We're doing it, right? And that's probably the biggest point that I want to drive home today. Is one, this is going to be a podcast. This is going to be a place. Again, it'll be audio out there. It'll be syndicated to YouTube. It'll be living on our website. You can tune in live, watch the Facebook Live replay. There's so many different ways that you can watch it, listen to it, whatever the case. But at the end of the day, the thing that you can come here to find out is the truth, what's real, what's in the moment. And I think what many people are going to start to realize is just how fast things change. Roger, I think you know more than anybody. Google doesn't stay doing something the same way for very long. Facebook doesn't stay doing the same thing for very long, right? Before things change. They're in a battle against themselves, but they're also in a battle for giving their user base the best experience. And that's why this idea of growth-driven design is kind of like, it has to be. Thoughts? Anything you want to add to that?
Absolutely. So yeah. If we specifically speak about Google, right? It's like Google has multiple updates daily, so it's hard to really kind of look at that. It's like, well, how does how do I rank? Because that's basically a lot of the stuff that we do with SEO is how do I rank. But something that you guys need to understand is Google does have multiple updates daily. Do we all hear about them? No. The big updates are the ones you hear about, the ones that are out there, the ones that are promoted. But in reality, there's hundreds of updates that are happening all the time. So one of the things that we're able to kind of share with this group and our community out there and everybody that decides to join and listen to this podcast and kind of take advantage of this information is that we personally in our agency have over 100 websites, 100 clients out there that have websites, and we're watching the analytics. So we get to see firsthand how those changes are affecting certain ranking factors, right? So we actually have the live data. A lot of people are speaking to the point of theory, right? But not only are we going to be bringing theory to the table, but we're also going to be speaking directly to what's happening to our direct clients and what you need to watch out for or what you need to be taking advantage of. because there are some opportunities in digital marketing and the different platforms out there on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it might be, that you need to take action now because it's a strategy that might only last for a month or two. So those are some of the things that definitely would be a big benefit to anybody running a business right now.
Speaking of that, right before we kind of hit the go live button on this, you and I were literally just kind of, we'll call it backstage, right? 2020, COVID, no more live events, all this stuff, everything's virtual. Backstage, aka Roger and I logged in and nobody else knew that we were on. Piece of a, backstage, you were saying that there's a trend or kind of a trendy thing right now when we look at something like YouTube. And when you just said, it may not be around for quite some time, that literally was what you said at the start of this, that whatever this thing is with YouTube right now, who knows? It literally could be gone in a month, 2 months, whatever the case. So why don't you share a little bit about that to everybody?
Sure, absolutely. So there's a big trend happening right now. We don't have all the information. Nobody, I'm going to be very clear, nobody has all the information out there. You're starting to see YouTube videos talking about this topic. So I just want to kind of like set the tone here, so you don't go out there and start kind of doing all this stuff and assume that let's call them the gurus, right? That are putting this information out there are saying this is exactly how it's working. They don't. Nobody knows everything. Why? We're going to go back to the updates that are happening on these platforms. This is a major update that happened on YouTube. So that's the one. It is called a YouTube Short. And what that is, a YouTube Short is basically what it sounds like. It's a short video. It's a 60-second or less video. The closer you can get to 60 seconds, the better. But there are some rules to be able to kind of take advantage of this particular strategy. Okay, so the YouTube Shorts have basically the reason they're launching, and once again, this is information that I've gathered through my research, and we're gonna start testing some of this stuff out to share some of our results. But just to give you the information that we have as of now, this is a very recent release on the YouTube platform. And what it is on the mobile app, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll notice a table or a scrolling kind of just a scrolling videos. That is the new YouTube Short table. Okay, so that right there only holds videos that are shot in a vertical manner. So if you're going to try this strategy out, I would recommend that you go out, look at your business. First of all, you have to have some kind of idea, right? And you have to have, it's one of those things that I would recommend that you actually script, because you only have 60 seconds. So one of the things that I've kind of gathered through the research that I've done is the best strategy to do is script it, because you only have 60 seconds. And this should not be a promotional video. This should be something that you're either inspiring somebody, you're teaching something, or giving some type of information in 60 seconds. That's what it has to be, right? And why these are becoming so popular and why we're talking about it right now is because there's not a lot of them out there. So the demand of these videos, or the amount of these videos on YouTube, there's not a lot of them. So YouTube is actually placing all the videos on the front, or basically on that shelf, and millions, thousands or millions in some cases, people are watching them. Shawn, you know this very well, just with top results, ShawnTiberio.com, and the different YouTube channels that you've done. It's not easy to get traffic, right? You have to promote it. You have to do a lot of things. What's happening with the shorts, there's not a lot of videos like that right now. So you have the opportunity right now to create, look at your business, come up with an idea, put a short in. And what I've seen, once again, with the research that I've done, you just have to be patient, because some results that have been reported is that in a week, they start getting a ton of traffic. Some of them take a month. This particular feature is only about a little over a month or so old, but something just it's one of those things that I would recommend if you're doing YouTube or you're thinking about doing YouTube. This is a perfect entryway to create a video and get going with them.
Awesome. And it's literally, I randomly stumbled on somebody's channel. I think it was yesterday. I want to say it was like Pat Flynn or somebody like that. One of the guys that I listen to a lot of their podcasts, and I happened to stumble on their YouTube channel through something. and I noticed they had a couple of those like 60-second things. I was like, what are these? And that's what led me into kind of digging in a hair to it. But definitely something I'm sure we'll start to unpack a little bit, play with, try, and bring some of that stuff. So let's talk real quick before we start to wrap it down here. What are some of the topics coming up? Obviously, you guys see the ticker going at the bottom of the screen right now. If you have topic ideas, if there's a burning kind of question, if there's something that you've been trying to focus and work on in your business, especially on your online presence side, digital marketing end, that's the type of stuff we want to hear from you so that we can help maybe do some of that research, bring some things to the table to help you out. With that, literally all you got to do, send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, wherever the case. Send Top Results channels on Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case, a message. Reach out to Roger directly. Basically, at the end of the day, just send us the message somewhere so that we can get it worked in to the flow. We do want to hear from each and every one of you guys. But some other ideas that I know we'll probably be breaking down. I'll speak some of the ones on my end, and then Roger, I'll let you kind of share some of the ones that you have kind of at the tip of your tongue ready to go in the next few weeks. I really see us spending some time breaking down this kind of concept of organic marketing, not paid advertising, not pumping Facebook and Instagram and Google with a bunch of money, but how to really build a solid organic foundation, and using some examples of some of the ways that we've done it at Top Results, what I've done in the past that's really worked on that front. Another big one is going to be on really taking that website and getting away from the glorified online brochure. And turning it into something that's actually valuable, a valuable asset. I'm actually speaking at an event here in about 35, 40 minutes on that topic. And I was thinking earlier today, a website that's just kind of sitting there bland, not really doing much for you, would be like a business hiring somebody to sit in front of a phone that never rings. When you think of it that way, you're like, that's stupid. Who in their right mind would pay somebody to sit in front of a phone that never rings? Well, if your website's out there just bland as a glorified brochure and you're spending money on it, it's kind of what you're doing. You're spending money on something that's not doing anything. So we'll unpack that. That's probably a handful of episodes into some elements there over the coming weeks. So those are just a couple of the big ones right off the top. To me, what are some that you've got, Roger, that I know you want to bring to the table?
Yeah, no, it's going to piggyback a lot on what you just said there, but getting into kind of in regards to not just an online brochure, but understanding what that even means, right? Getting into site architecture and what the importance of site architecture and why it should be set up a certain way with certain pages, right? And not only that, but getting into the actual keyword research that for many has been a big mystery. A lot of people say, hey, I'm in the real estate space, so I'm going to create a real estate website, whatever that means, right? A real estate website. They put it out there and they think because they created a real estate website that they're going to rank around all these important keywords around real estate. Or if they're a real estate agent or real estate investor, that automatically Google's going to know where to rank them, right? So a lot of the things that that I'm going to be kind of uncovering or looking, diving deep underneath the hood is explaining that site architecture. And then once you kind of have a good idea on that, how you put in those keywords and create a content strategy around site architecture, keyword research, and really kind of develop a very powerful structured website that actually ranks for keywords that you need to rank for in your industry to then that turn into conversions, right? So it's a big subject. That was a lot packed into that one sentence, right?
Wait, you mean I buy a domain and Google just starts sending me traffic? I thought that's how it worked. You're telling me that's
very
not
close,
it?
Very close, but not really. It's probably the 0.5% of the entire strategy. But yeah, those are the things, and we're not making this up. These are questions that our clients bring to us that we see over and over and over. And one of the things, like, we're going to say to you, we're going to be real. when we were once again backstage talking about this, it's like we have to be on this podcast. The whole point of this is adding value, being very real and realistic, that tough love. And you need to stop spending thousands of dollars on a website that you have no idea what it does, right? So if a company cannot explain what that website is going to do and show you how it's going to do it, then there's a problem. And we are going to explain that for you, what to look for, what questions to ask, and basically break everything down. And hopefully you guys can also send us some questions that might not make sense, and we'll be able to answer those on this podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that being said, actually, before we wrap up, any final words you want to throw out there to everybody? This one's going to be a little on the more shorter kind of bland side. It's hey, welcome to what we're doing, and here's a little bit about us. So next week we're going to start diving into some good topics. But anything you want to kind of sign off with first?
Yeah, I just want to sign off with I appreciate everybody that's listening to the podcast live now, and that's going to be listening to this later. I'm super excited. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. As Shawn said, I'm usually the guy in the background doing a lot of the coding, working with our development team. But now with this podcast, I am ready to go. I'm ready to kind of drop some bombs and kind of really help some people out. At the end of the day, a big advocate. I always say that about helping each other, helping our community. And I think this is our way of giving back and really kind of expanding, allowing people to expand their knowledge around digital marketing, entrepreneurship, and yeah, just trying to kind of get out there and help out.
We're not dropping bombs, by the way. I decided we're going to coin this phrase. I don't know if anybody's using it, but we're dropping full gold bars. Not golden nuggets, not bombs. I don't want to blow anybody up. I've done that for too many years. We're dropping full gold bars. That's what you're missing out if you don't tune in or watch and pay attention at some point. You're going to miss an entire gold bar that will transform your entire business, maybe just off of one thing that you learn listening to this. So just my 2 cents there.
Gold bars. I like it. Gold bars. We're rolling with it.
Since we're buzzing about the web and all the cool things happening, it's like my mind was saying we got to drop big things, right? Big to me in business is money. Gold bar, there's nothing more valuable than a whole gold bar right there. So with that, couple things I want to throw out there to everybody. You guys see it running on the ticker. If you're watching this on the video, if you're not, I'll explain it to you if you're listening to it later. If you listen to it too later, you're going to miss out on this anyway. But next week, Thanksgiving, we'll call it Thanksgiving week, even though it's on Thursday. Top results. We are in the spirit of giving, being thankful, all that kind of stuff. We are giving back. And we've got a fun little kind of, call it a raffle, I guess. It's a raffle, random drawing, bunch of different prizes. Things like press releases for your business, some highly SEO blogs written for you. What were some of the other ones, Roger, that we'd come up with? Keyword.
Yeah, so we have a silo setup. So basically, some of these terms might not make a lot of sense for you guys, but for example, a silo setup is basically kind of looking at your website, your business, and having our team actually create the site architecture at the end of the day. That's probably a better example. Silo is a SEO term that we use, but it's basically just setting up the architecture correctly, as I talked early, so that way Google knows exactly what pages it's supposed to be ranking.
Yeah, some keyword projects in there, doing a bunch of keyword research for you and really giving you a kind of a really detailed breakdown of the keywords for you, your business, your product, your service, that kind of stuff. There's some one-on-one coaching with Roger and I that's going to be given away. There's a couple other ones in total, but the grand prize, the Big Mac Daddy of them all, is we're going to be giving away a free kind of highly optimized website to basically the same thing that we do for our clients. We're going to be giving that away to one lucky winner. So if you want to enter to win, if you want to get some of these other prizes, have a chance for the grand prize. There's going to be a bunch of little prizes throughout the course of the holiday week. just head over to topresultsconsulting.com/Black Friday. topresultsconsulting.com/Black Friday. Fill out the form, answer a few questions. Make sure you take I think there's like 3 steps that you got to go through to get yourself entered. And that's it. You be entered. There's no cost. It's free. It's our way of giving back, saying thanks to everybody else. Our way of kind of paying it forward on there. So topresultsconsulting.com/Black Friday. And as always, if you guys got topics, questions, comments, anything that you would love for us to discuss on here, reach out. Let us know. With that, I'm good. Roger, you good?
I am good.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. If you got some value, maybe there was some value today, but if you like this, if you're excited about this podcast, which I'm sure many of you guys are, share it out. Share the replay out. Share the links out there. Tell people about it. And that is Roger and I's mission now, is to figure out what day and time every single week we're going to be here going live, doing the podcast. Obviously, you'll be able to watch it later in multiple different formats. But if you want to be on live, we're going to try to schedule it same day of the week, same time, so that you can kind of make it part of your business ritual. That being said, we'll talk to you guys soon. And as always, here's to your success.